to talk about Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney will keep his job for the next 4 years after Carney's Liberal Party won the federal election in a stunning course reversal fueled by the souring relationship with the United States.
The election was in many ways a referendum on Trump and which party could most effectively counter the American president's trade war and efforts to make the Great White North the 51st state in the Union.
Trump trolled Canadian voters ahead of the election on Monday, saying in a post on Truth Social, "Elect the man who has the strength and wisdom to cut your taxes in half, increase your military power for free to the highest level in the world, have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and all other businesses quadruple in size with zero tariffs or taxes if Canada becomes the cherished 51st state."
Leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, shot back in a post on X saying, quote, "President Trump, stay out of our election. Canada will always be proud, sovereign and independent, and we will never be the 51st state." Poilievre's defiance of Trump didn't seem to help sway voters. The CBC projected Monday night that he himself had lost his seat in Parliament.
In spite of all this, Trump didn't seem fazed. In an interview with The Atlantic, he acknowledged that the Conservative candidate was ahead by 25 points before he started his trolling. He actually used the interview to troll Canada again, writing, "I've thrown the election into a close call, right? I don't even know if it's a close call, but the Conservative, they didn't like Governor Trudeau too much, and I would call him Governor Trudeau, but he wasn't fond of that."
Strangely enough, who could have guessed that the Prime Minister of an independent sovereign nation wouldn't like being called governor by the President of the United States?
Yes, after Trudeau's fall, the Conservative Party was polling quite well.
Way
for
ahead.
A while,
Yeah.
way ahead, and then Trump, the presumption is that Trump ruined all that. I'm looking for the, that's a very, mainstream narrative, so I'm trying to understand, well, okay, what is the other perspective? And I'm actually just not seeing it. I don't know what anyone else is saying about this. I mean, maybe they're saying, well, we don't care because who cares what Canada does? And it seems like Trump is ambivalent at best toward the fate of the Conservative Party in Canada, and at worst would be happy to have the Liberals in charge. He thinks they're a weaker negotiating position, or they're just more feminine and will bend to his will, like the maple syrup chugging people. I don't know.
I think that's been a bit too generous to Trump in his capacity for four-dimensional chess or whatever people credit him with sometimes. Look, I think that he was obviously a massive issue in this campaign, not just because of the trade war, but also because of that sort of derision that he exhibits toward Canadian independence, sovereignty, the idea that it would somehow willingly submit to being the 51st state. You try that with any free nation on earth and people are going to rebel against it. Now, there was obviously the additional question of how exactly to deal with his tariffs. In terms of, yes, I take the point that not everything is purely a referendum on American politics or on Trump in foreign nations. I mean, I guess one thing that also helped the Liberals was simply Trudeau stepping down and Carney being elected in his place. So you didn't have a Prime Minister who had been there for years and years and could quite so easily be tarred as, part of the establishment, although Carney's not much of a flamethrower, but that I think did help the Liberals. But look, if you look at the polls and you look at when they shifted, it's pretty obvious that Trump did his opponents a huge favor by what he did.
The problem I have with the 51st state talk is what if that actually, that's not going to happen, but if it actually happened, that would be very bad for the American Republican Party because it would add a large number of electoral votes to a solidly blue, what would be an extremely blue state.
An extremely large state as well.
An extremely large state with what? Then they're going to get 2 senators, a bunch of House seats.
Yeah.
What are we doing, guys? I don't even understand it. What are you thinking?
Do you think Democrats should be strongly in favor of annexing Canada?
Yes. Well, just as they're in favor of DC statehood, which is opposed by Republicans on purely, on correct strategic and tactical grounds. That would be the most liberal state in the country, and we would get the Democrats would get 2 2 Senate seats, 3 electoral votes, and a House seat, and that would be disastrous. Well, so it's never going to happen.
Well, the voters of the District of Columbia, including you and me, are deprived of our proper representation because the Republican Party won't acknowledge that it deserves representation because, as you say, you would have 2 Democratic senators and at least a
I would
House
just
member.
add us to, we should just be added to Maryland or Virginia or something is what I would do. It should be its own. That's how I would solve the no, we're not represented policy, is just make us part of, probably Maryland, make us part of Maryland.
I mean, I think that DC statehood is a better option, but I don't want to get off the topic.
Yes, because you want to add electoral votes for Democrats.
No, because look, the whole thing about the Canadian, like, it is, the reason I laughed when you were saying about DC is you can't really make a serious comparison between the capital of the United States and a foreign country who Trump is just pontificating about somehow seizing or having its people give up their independence in order to incorporate themselves into the United States. I mean, on some level he's trolling. On another level, it's just a fundamental act of disrespect to another sovereign nation.
Yeah, I think we should strive toward positive relationships with Canada and our other neighbors, including, most importantly, good trade arrangements that will mutually enrich us and them and maybe make them more favorably inclined toward market principles and limited governance that would make the Conservative Party more popular there. I think that's the way to do it, and that's what I'm in favor of. But we do not have a change in the governance of Canada as of yet.
Our Canadian cousins have prudently come down on the side of centre-left governance again, Robby.
Oh dear. All right. Coming up on Rising, the unexpected Atlantic interview and how 2 reporters were able to get President Trump's personal cell phone number and convince him to talk to them. Stay tuned.